This is the whips and the chains that they can impose if we go to a purely government-backed digital currency. Get ready because your enslavement is coming much, much sooner than you think. You know that old saying, coming to a theater near you? Well, this is coming. It's being provided by your own willingness to go along with these things, and it's going to be enabled by the phone in your pocket. That's how close it is to you. It's as close as your telephone. Robert Breedlove, the ultimate weapon of economic tyranny is coming. All Federal Reserve banks shall, not later than January 1st, 2021, make digital wallets available to all residents and citizens of the United States and to businesses domiciled in the United States. Now, China's been working on this for a while. China moves away from the US dollar ahead of digital yuan. So they're going to have a cryptocurrency-based yuan, and we've known that for a while. It's coming. We thought they would be first. Possibly not. In unprecedented monetary overhaul, the Fed is preparing to deposit digital dollars directly to each American. And then another article on Zero Hedge. Fed's direct money transfers are coming. Lael Brainard, she's a Fed governor, says Fed is collaborating with MIT on hypothetical digital currency. Well, it's not so hypothetical, Lael. So this is congress.gov, and you can go there and you can see all of the stuff that they are planning. And these are hearings to examine the digitization of currency and payments. They don't understand the difference between money. Has to be a store of value. That's one of the attributes that it has to have. There is no such thing as a national fiat money. They're all currencies. That's the reason we have the foreign currency exchange. It's a currency exchange, not a money exchange. Including, this is the Illicit Cash Act, to improve laws relating to money laundering, and this is the Banking for All Act, to require member banks to maintain pass-through digital dollar wallets for certain persons. And so here are the two acts, and you can click on those. And the Illicit Cash Act, there's a summary here. And some of the things that, everybody should read this stuff. It's important. But this bill, will compel foreign banks to comply with subpoenas for records and allowing fines of foreign banks that fail to comply. So they're going to fine foreign banks, banks in Switzerland and France and China and everywhere else in the world. They have to comply or we fine them. And if they refuse to pay the fine, we can freeze them out of the world monetary system through the SWIFT system. And we've been playing this game. This kind of bullying is the reason that the dollar will one day stop being the world's reserve currency. The global dollar standard, as I have been saying for many, many years, is on its last legs, and eventually it will fall apart where we do not get to run the world monetary system. And it's a shame because there are enormous benefits. The wealth transfer and the lifestyle that we have, a lot of it depends on being the bank, running the game. Basically, there is a wealth transfer that goes on from the rest of the world to us. And it's in Hidden Secrets of Money. So I forgot what episode that is, but you can watch it. Another one here that's threatening is expanding the regulation of digital currencies. So they want to somehow regulate Bitcoin and all of the other digital currencies that are not part of their little sphere of influence, as you will see in a minute. And then you can also click on the text. I don't recommend reading all of this stuff. Well, you could. I mean, anybody that has the time should. I've read it, but it's long and boring, but you're going to pull some things out of it that, if you always look at the wording and are suspect of how it could be interpreted, then you can pull a lot more out of these things than it appears. So if you click on all actions here on the actions tab, you can see that it was introduced in September of last year, and it was read twice and to the Senate, in the Senate, and referred to the Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs. And then that committee held hearings on it twice, once in December and at the end of June. June 30, remember that date. So moving on to the Banking for All Act. So here, again, there's a summary, and the summary, there's some things that, this bill requires Federal Reserve member banks to provide digital pass-through accounts. Now, the Federal Reserve member banks, that's most banks, but not all. Digital pass-through accounts, i.e. digital dollar wallets, to residents and citizens and to businesses domiciled in the United States. Among other things, these accounts must provide specified banking services to eligible persons who elect to deposit funds into these accounts. This is important. That makes it sound very voluntary. Who elect to deposit funds into these accounts, including access to C-1984, or also known as the Batman Wu-Flu. The Batman Wu-Flu, C-1984. We'll get into that in an upcoming video. Aid payments. So persons who elect to deposit aid payments? I mean, how can you refuse? Everybody is going to download one of these. This isn't voluntary. When they dangle a carrot, or actually they've got a worm on a hook and they're dangling it in front of the American public, everybody. And as these payments, that you've got an account and they deposit into these accounts, and you got 1,000 there, and after a while you got 5,000 there. After you're not going to be able to resist this. 99% of the population is going to fall for this. These accounts may not charge fees. It doesn't say will not charge fees. They may not charge fees. Wording is very important. How will this be interpreted in the future, or have balance requirements, and must provide a specified interest rate? Provide, not pay a specified interest rate, but provide one. We're going to get into that in a moment. In areas with limited access to Federal Reserve member banks, these banks must partner with the post office to provide services. That's important also. Remember, the post office, they may not charge fees, and they must provide a specified interest rate. Federal Reserve banks must permit state non-member banks and credit unions. Now, at this point, that's every banking financial institution that there is in the United States. So they must permit them to open master accounts for the purpose of offering digital pass-through accounts. Now, if your customers have, there's been these C-1984 payments into an account that you can claim that's connected with your identification that you can claim. And you've got it builds up. You got $1,000, but after 10 months, you got $10,000 sitting there. Who is not going to claim that? And so these non-member banks and credit unions don't want to lose you as a customer. And so they are going to do this. Retail postal facilities and certain small banks must be reimbursed for the appropriate Federal Reserve Bank for operational costs by the appropriate Federal Reserve Bank incurred in offering these accounts. So it's not going to cost all of the banks and credit unions anything to do this, to get you trapped and enslaved. The text of the bill, these are all long things. Actions, too. And when you click on that, you have to, this is the overview. It was introduced in the Senate. When you click on all actions, it was read twice and referred to the Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs, same committee that is reviewing the Illicit Cash Act. And the hearing that they had on it, this was introduced on March 23rd. Remember that date, March 23rd. It's important. It was introduced. It was the hearing that was held was on 6/30. That's the same date as the second hearing on the Illicit Cash Act. So these two things really go together. That they want to control the currency completely and control everything that you do with it. That's the big problem. I'll get to those whips and chains that they're going to be using in a moment. So, March 23rd, right there. So the stock markets have been we had the C-1984 Batman Wu flu, and the markets had been crashing for exactly a month. And they lost a tremendous amount from 3,400 down to 2,250 here. This is huge, huge losses that we had. The public was panicked. They did this hearing on like the date of maximum public panic. Now, some of the things that are happening is this is the IMF blog, cashing in, how to make negative interest rates work. And this is an old article. It's a year and a half old. In it, they were trying to make negative, if they take interest rates too negative, people will just take cash out of their bank and hold cash at home instead of having the cash in the bank accounts where they're getting charged a fee, basically. You can't have fees, but you've got to provide an interest rate. Well, this interest rate is minus. And so it's not a fee, it's an interest rate. And so your cash in the bank dwindles if you don't spend it, because what their goal is to control velocity of currency. Watch episodes 6 and 7 of Hidden Secrets of Money if you want to know about, you should know about velocity of currency. It's important. It's going to have a lot to do with your future. So watch those episodes and learn as much as you can about this. But what they were proposing back then was each country at its own discretion having two different currencies. The currency in circulation, the paper currency, which would be different than the dollars that are, the dollars that are in the ether, or the currency that's in the ether, the digital currency that's in your bank account and that you use on your credit card. And every retailer would have to have two different prices, one price for the digital currency and one price for the cash currency. And say you're negative at 3% per year. If you take out $100 out of the bank on a certain date and you bring it back and deposit it a year later, you're only going to get $97. The $100 bill is only going to be worth 97 of the digital currency. So there's an exchange rate that's constantly changing between them. But that was extremely complex. So what's next? Well, this is also the IMF, and this is an old article. This is from March of 2018. But what are cryptocurrencies? They're sort of getting us ready for this. And then we go to the IMF's Twitter account, and they have this slick little video on here. What is cryptocurrency? And so they're getting us ready globally for national fiat cryptocurrencies. Very, very dangerous. Now, remember the post office. The post office just filed a patent for blockchain-based secure voting system. So not only is the post office going to be connected to your bank account, they're going to be connected to your vote. I don't know exactly what the implications are for this, but it's pretty big that basically your digital wallet, that the future of all of the transactions that you're going to be making, is also being done through the same place that you vote. And they, so this is pretty creepy, folks. And so I just had my spreadsheet master, Alan Hibbard. He does amazing work, but he threw together this simple spreadsheet of interest rates. If you deposit $100 on day one, how many days? This is the number of days, and we've got a negative interest rate of 0.1% per day here. And as you can see, by the time 11 days goes by, you've lost $1 out of 100. You've lost 1%. And then I've hidden a bunch of the rows on this because I wanted to show you that after 1 month, you've lost just about 3% after a month. You're down to $97. At 111 days, you've lost 10%. At 224 days, you've lost 20%. $20 has vanished from your account. At 357 days, you've lost 30% basically. You're down to, and this is the rate that credit cards charge if you default on a payment, 30% annual interest. And so at 365, it's 30.5% annual interest, and you're down to less than $70. This means that you spend it as soon as you get it. Now, when you enslave people, there's usually not just the shackles and chains, but there's also whips involved. So the shackles and chains is the currency that's going to be deposited into your phone wallet and available to you. The whips is this and a couple of other things. I want you to go and watch this video. It's very important, by George Gammon. George is great. He's going to teach this to you in 3 easy steps. And he is good at connecting the dots. This is what I do, is connect the dots for people. You take some complex process, describe it in a way that people can understand it. And, I love George. He is also a libertarian. I am, a libertarian was originally, that's a liberal. Progressive Socialists, the Socialist Party, has commandeered the term liberal. Liberal does not mean what people think it means today. Somebody that was liberal during Thomas Jefferson's time believed in allowing people to do whatever they want as long as they don't impose themselves on or hurt other people, and believed that the government, they were fiscally conservative, but socially liberal. So you could do anything you want. They didn't believe in trying to control your life. Anyway, go and watch George's video, because the one thing that I forgot when I was talking about the digital currencies and how the government could track you, I forgot that these, when you watch this, the currencies are programmable. They can make it so that if they don't like what you're doing, if they don't want you to travel, you won't be able to buy an airline ticket. You won't be able to gas up you can't buy gas 50 miles from your home. The currency doesn't work. Those dollars won't purchase petrol any certain radius from your home. They can actually make it so that your only choices left, they can give you social credits. If you're a good boy, you do everything that the government wants and you don't do anything it doesn't want you to do, then you have more freedom. They're not going that you'll have less taken out of your account, or they may pay you a positive interest rate. They can make it so that your dollars purchase more when it's purchasing the things that they want you to purchase, or when you're doing the things they want you to do. They can like make those currency units worth 10% more, or they can make those currencies worth, if they don't like how much if you drink too much and they don't like how much you're drinking, they can make it so that you go in to purchase some beer or wine, and each dollar is only worth 50 cents at that purchase. This is all programmable. They can make it so that you can't travel. They can make it so that the only thing that you can do is shop at the nearest grocery store and stay at home in your shitty government apartment. This is the whips and the chains that they can impose if we go to a purely government-backed digital currency, a blockchain digital currency. Now, the way that, even if I'm getting these deposits of, the magic money tree universal basic income, the modern monetary theory and universal basic income, if you're getting a few $1,000s every month into an account, or, and they'll raise it $5,000, whatever, it's going to be pretty tempting not to spend that. But here is a way that you can maintain maximum freedom for the longest period possible. Give them as little data on you as possible. If you get $1,000 each month, right away before it decays, make a $1,000 purchase of something that they like. Pay your rent with it. Do something like that. You don't want to do a whole bunch of little purchases or purchase anything that they don't like. If you give them the least amount of data possible of tracking your purchases, you're going to maintain your freedom. We are all going to maintain our freedom for as long as possible. I hope you got something from this. Please subscribe to our channel and go and watch George's video. George Gammon, what a guy. Watch a lot of his videos. He's great. He's going to teach it to you in 3 easy steps, and he's going to tell you to go get a good stiff drink. Thank you very much for watching.